Welcome everyone to this research webinar uh, organized by Breeze Research Center for Data Science and Artificial Intelligence. Let me start this by introducing our speaker for the day, Professor Anuj Kapoor. So he's an assistant professor in the quantitative marketing area of IIM Ahmedabad. His research interests are in the economics of digitization, artificial intelligence, privacy, and digital platforms. His research focus is on understanding how big data and artificial intelligence shapes consumer welfare and digital markets. He works closely with firms to suggest to them more ways to become more data-driven. He has ongoing collaborations with various tech startups in India and digital media, finance, healthcare, tech space. He has received his Ph.D. in business administration from the University of Utah. After his doctoral studies, he has worked in the data science space in San Diego, USA. In IIM Ahmedabad, he teaches electives related to artificial intelligence and marketing, privacy paradox, digital platforms, monetizing AI and technology. So without further ado, I would invite Professor Anuj to start his talk.
Anirban, thank you very much for the kind introduction. And that's the most formal way in which we have interacted with each other ever. But thank you very much for that. Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking out time to attend this session. So this is a new work. So we are really looking forward to some feedback from you. It's a very short paper and it's meant that way. So I will get started by sharing my screen and then we'll take it from there. So everyone, as I mentioned, this is a fresh new paper. We have got some feedback, but I'll really appreciate your feedback if you have any. Generative AI and personalized video advertisements. As the name suggests, this has something to do with generative AI, which is something people are talking about these days, and also on personalized video ads. This is joint work with Madhav Kumar. He's a postdoc at MIT Sloan School of Management. Let's start with a quick video, and I'm assuming many of you have seen this video before. Let's watch it together.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time, even if they would never say those things. So, for instance, they could have me say things like, I don't know, Killmonger was right, or Ben Carson is in the sunken place, or, how about this, simply, President Trump is a total and complete dipshit. Now, you see, I would never say these things, at least not in a public address, but someone else would. Someone like Jordan Peele. This is a dangerous time. Moving forward, we need to be more vigilant with what we trust from the internet. That's a time when we need to rely on trusted news sources. It may sound basic, but how we move forward in the age of information is going to be the difference between whether we survive or whether we become some kind of fucked up dystopia. Thank you. And stay woke, bitches.
Now, that's an example of a deep fake, and that is something we have seen as an example of generative AI before ChatGPT became famous. Okay. So that's, we know, not Obama speaking, that's a deep fake of Obama trying to say something which some people may not like and some people might find hilarious. Now let's assume it's not just Obama, it's any of your favorite celebrity talking to you in a personalized way. So when I say they talk to you, that means they are addressing you. And you can feel that the context and the terminology they use, they are personalized for you. Can that happen? And can companies use these kind of deep fakes, which I don't want to use the term for all the text to video technology, but if you leverage that to create ads, and can marketing academia as well as literature study the impact of these kind of generative AI generated video ads on real marketing outcomes, say ad clicks. And that's essentially the broad scope of this study here. Let me show you, just dwelling deeper into this. Let's imagine that we have an individual who is a customer of an e-commerce platform, and the e-commerce platform wants to remind her or just to nudge her to revisit their website. What they can do, they can also generate a video which is personalized for her. Right? Let's imagine that this individual likes Dia Mirza, and that's what the e-commerce platform has as their brand ambassador. And Dia Mirza sends a personalized video text over WhatsApp to this individual. If that happens, let's see how that will sound like.
Hi Mitali, Dia here. I hope you're enjoying chemical-free and eco-friendly living. Have you seen our new range of cleaner sheets? They're sustainable, safe for the environment, and most importantly, for you and your loved ones. I would recommend you try them out.
Right. So that's a small, simple, personalized ad that is targeted towards the customer of an e-commerce platform. Right. Having seen this in mind, generative AI is a promising new technology with the potential to disrupt multiple business verticals such as marketing, design, and innovation. And its application in marketing is particularly touted as transformational and is expected to influence core processes such as creative design for ads, content creation for personalized targeting, customer support, and learning consumer feedback from user-generated content. So what we do in this study, we empirically test the theoretical promise of generative AI for a core marketing outcome, which is advertising effectiveness, right? And we are focusing here on personalized ad targeting. And for that, we began by designing a proof of concept that demonstrates how generative AI can be used to create personalized video advertisements, a task that was previously prohibited due to cost and effort. And then we take this idea to the field and examine two important questions. First, can generative AI improve ad engagement metrics when pitted against traditional ad formats? And is there any heterogeneity in the impact of generative AI-based ads across important user segments? So essentially, do all users respond equally to these ads, or is there any heterogeneity across these user segments? It's a multi-stakeholder research or effort to give you a context. So we need, if you see it by first principles, we need a text-to-video generator. So we need a company which specializes in this technology, where it can convert text, morph it on the brand ambassador, and then it spits out that video which is tailored to a customer. But for that, you also need a brand which should be willing to test this phenomenon. So essentially, there's a text-to-video generator, and then you also need a brand which can leverage text-to-video technology of this firm to finally send WhatsApp messages to the to folks, to the customers of this platform. Right? So for that, what we did, we partnered with 3 different firms, coordinated with them to run an experiment where we can causally tease apart the impact of generative AI-enabled advertisements on advertising outcomes. As I said, so 3 companies we work with. First is our AI technology partner, which specializes in digital avatars, text-to-video generation, and also personalized video content. So that's our first partner for text-to-video generation. Then we partnered with an Indian e-commerce brand which specializes in eco-friendly and sustainable products, and we ran a field experiment on this platform's existing customers. Right? and we work closely with their marketing team to decide content and targeting strategies. Finally, the messages have been created, the brand is willing to test it, but we need a partner who can send all these ads over WhatsApp, because that's the medium we are choosing to deliver content. And that will be done by a our third research partner, which specializes in helping brand communicate with their customers through chat-based media such as WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger. So as I said, it's a multi-stakeholder research effort where we are leveraging 3 different partners to come on board, coordinate with them, and send personalized video ads to our focal brand's existing customers. Before I dwell deeper into what we do, just some key findings, what we find. So we run an online ad targeting experiment on WhatsApp with around 21,000 customers, existing customers, in which around 9,500 receive hyper-personalized video ads. And we see that these ads, the engagement with these kind of video-generated ads is 6 to 9 percentage points higher than the traditional digital ad formats. When I discuss the experiment in detail, I'll talk about exactly how we run the study and what are the treatment arms and conditions. And this lift that we see in the engagement is robust across demographics, gender, and the state of residence. Finally, Gen AI also engages users who have historically not engaged with our partners' previous WhatsApp campaigns. So that's also something we see on the heterogeneity front. Why these findings are very important? Partly because of theoretical ambiguity as well. So there is one stream of literature which is on personalization and marketing communication, and they suggest that personalization is important in marketing communication, with personalized advertisements having engagement rates that are almost twice as high as compared to generic ads. On the other hand, there is literature on privacy and algorithmic aversion, where papers have shown that targeted ads lead to privacy concerns. Right? When you see an ad which knows a lot about you, that brings people into that mindset of, is this infringing into my personal domain? And also, there is growing literature on algorithmic aversion, which is how people respond to ads that are algorithmically driven. So there is research which suggests that personalization can backfire, and instead of improving outcomes, there is a possibility that these AI generated ads could be perceived as invasive. So if you see here, these ads are likely to work because these are personalized. You feel like your own celebrity is going to talk to you by taking your name and also talking about the purchases you have made. So it's very custom made, tailored for you. But then on the other hand, this can also sound a bit invasive because it's very hyper personalized for you. Now, which way it will go, that is still an empirical outcome that we are not sure about what will happen. And we run a clean causal study to tease apart the impact of generative AI enabled ads on ad engagement. Now, if we go ahead, where does this work fit in as compared to the past literature that we have seen? So first is we causally test the effectiveness of Gen AI in a real world field setting. We see few papers now being written on the aspect of linking generative AI with businesses. And this is one of the first papers in the marketing domain where it connects generative AI enabled marketing phenomena, which is advertising, to in a real world setting to finally how we measure those phenomena, that is by clicks. The other papers which are in this domain are, for example, Noy and Zhang's paper, where they see how generative AI can boost productivity in writing tasks. Right? People who get access to generative AI versus those who don't, how does it impact the way they write, the content they write, the quality of their content? Similarly, generative AI has been shown to produce more financially viable solutions for business challenges. They are also proven to increase search engine advertising performance and also customer service outcomes. Right? But this is one of the first papers where we directly test in a field setting the impact of generative AI on advertising, and that too video advertising. The second stream of literature that we contribute to is ad personalization, targeting, and the impact. So effectiveness of search engine ads has been proven. If it's a personalized search engine ad, it leads to better outcomes. Efficacy of personalized online ads, that also we have papers like Blair and Eisenbiss, Hoban and Buckling. And then the impact of retargeted ads, Lambert and Tucker, Sani et al., where they have shown that retargeting many times backfires, but it works in certain conditions. So our work also lies in that domain of efficient targeting, personalization, and the impact of those advertising. Further, it also contributes to this domain of advertising where we test how a new medium of advertising impacts ad outcomes. So there is paper on viral video ads, that's 2015, when the video ads were just starting out. There are papers on length and location of in-stream video ads on brand recognition. So where you place the brands and how long is the ad and how it impacts outcomes in terms of how people react to these ads. And finally, again, 2015 papers, because that's when the time when the video ads were coming into play, on the association between video ad characteristics and ads perceived intrusiveness, more on the privacy front. Okay. Lastly, we also contribute to human AI interaction and algorithmic aversion. So there are papers on AI, how chatbots, which are AI enabled, impact consumer purchases, how AI impacts feedback mechanism, how people are less receptive to medical AI, that is in the healthcare domain. But there is, to the best of our understanding, we are the first paper to study how AI-enabled ads impact consumer behavior, and that too in a real world setting, not in a lab setting. To test what we are doing, we run a clean experiment using our 3 research partners. So I'll walk you through the experiment design. So what we do here, we pick up around 21,000 users and from our e-commerce platform, which sells sustainable products. Right? So we pick up 21,000 users, which are randomly sampled from the database of our e-commerce platform. And there are 3 conditions, 2 control conditions, and we have 1 treatment condition. In the control condition, we have a generic non-personalized video ad. So it's a video ad using the same avatar or celebrity that we use for personalized video ad. But here, the messaging is not based on any prior historic purchases of the consumer, but it's a generic ad that is trying to sell a generic product. Now, there is another control condition, which is personalized image ad, right? Because these are the 2 main ways in which the brands communicate with the consumers, either video or images. And that is how historically our partner has been dealing or sending messages to consumers. So we have a personalized image ad, or we have a generic non-personalized video ad, and our treatment is generative AI enabled personalized video ad. Right? So henceforth, generic non-personalized video ad will be referred to as NVideo, personalized image ad will be referred to as P-image, and generative AI personalized video ad will be AI video. So these are the 3 main conditions. And within this, we also have 3 sub-conditions, which is either we use these personalized video or images to upsell, revisit, or to switch. And I'll come to that, what we mean by that. And finally, the templates are get recorded by our partner, and then they will get passed through from this text to video. So the celebrity knows the text, the recorded ones. After that, for each individual, the content gets converted to image and text from our research partner. And finally, the messages get delivered through WhatsApp on May 14th, 2023 from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. IST. And that's essentially the study that we run. So it's just one session, one interaction, and we are not looking at the impact of repeated interactions with the same message or repeated messages. So we are looking at the impact of one clean interaction and how users are responding to that one interaction with the formats.
Anuj?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a small query. So this is regarding the choice of the partner firm.
Right.
So this partner firm is basically into selling sustainable products, right? So do you think that, and it's possible that because of that reason, these products that they are selling is slightly more expensive from the generic products available in the market, right? And that may be reflective. So that may basically translate to a different sort of a customer profile also. So do you think that choice of this partner can have possible implications for the generalizability of the study?
Right. No, that's a great question, Anirban. So I have partial answer to what the question that you have raised. So in order to to get generalizability, what the ideal way to do is to run a clean study, which is again very similar design with another partner, right? That we don't have. Partly it's tough to convince, and then working with different partners is difficult. But what we did was we actually got data from on engagement matrix from our AI generative AI partner, where they haven't run clean causal studies, but we do have descriptive data across 7 different brands, but they are not into these categories. One of this is in automobile insurance category. The other one is more on the debt collection part. Right? So these so we saw this very similar findings across different stakeholders who work in different verticals, but these are not experiments. So we can't be really sure, but at least from the observational data, we see similar findings.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks a lot. Okay. Now, let's move on. Let me start sharing again. Okay, so how this proprietary text to video generative engine works, first thing to keep in mind is we are targeting a behavior-based personalization, right? And what does that mean? This means the messages that you are sending to the user are user context dependent, and they are tailored at the ad content level. Right? I'll give you an example in the next slide and how this technology works. So first, the technology company creates a high fidelity digital avatar of the online retailer's brand ambassador based on pre-recorded template videos. Right? So they literally have an avatar in place, and then the text to video generative models personalize the content the brand ambassador communicates in the videos based on each user's historical data. Right? Now, how does it work? I'll show you here. Let's assume that there is a customer of the client and her name is Isha. So what she will see as a personalized video, she will see, hi Isha, Dia here. Now Dia is the name of this avatar or the brand ambassador of the company. I hope you are enjoying chemical-free and eco-friendly living. That's very generic. Have you seen our new range of cleaner sheets? They are sustainable and safe for the environment, and most importantly for you and your loved ones. Now we know that she has not purchased cleaner sheets before, Isha. And that's how you see in one of the sub-conditions, it's very tailor-made and customized based on her historical purchases in room decor, but she hasn't purchased those sheets before because we have her past history. And then she will say, I would recommend you try them out. So everything gets delivered to her in a video format over her WhatsApp. Now, experiment design, as I said, there are 3 experimental conditions: Gen AI based personalized video ad, personalized image ads, and generic non-personalized video ads. and we are going for a single exposure experiment. As I had mentioned, the personalization also has sub-conditions. There are 3 of them. First is upsell. So we recommend a new product that the user has not purchased, basis their prior history. Second is revisit, where we request the users to revisit the brand's website and browse the new selection of products. And last is switching, which is essentially encouraging signed up prospects to switch to the retailer's brand. That is, these are those customers who have given their login details. So we know about them, but they have never made a single purchase. But we know about them because they have registered themselves on the website. So these are the 3 ways within personalization in which we interact, the firm interacts with the customers. Another thing to keep in mind is this is not random, the 3 sub-conditions. Why? Because you have to perform an activity basis that the advertisement is catered to you. So if you have not made a purchase ever, but you have registered, you belong to the switch condition, right? If you have visited before, you browsed, but then you didn't interact with the firm for the last 4 months, you get a revisit message. You get assigned to that subcondition. And if you have made a purchase in the past 4 months, we are going to recommend you a new product that you haven't purchased before. Right? So we are focusing here on these subconditions, but we could have also focused on other subconditions like you add something to the cart, but then you forget to check out, or you intentionally don't purchase it. So we could have also sent a message on, hey, you added something to the cart, but you didn't check out. The issue that we face there is we wanted to be consistent and to keep the power calculations in mind. We have enough sample bases our power calculations to detect the sizable effect if it exists using the sample we have. And that's the basis for choosing these 3 subconditions. We do randomization checks. So this table provides the means and standard deviations of key pre-treatment variables across the experimental groups. We do balance checks across these variables to verify that the randomization was done correctly. And the last column that you see here, this shows the p-values from ANOVA testing, the difference in means across the experimental groups, and we do not detect any systematic difference in the variables across the experimental groups. So that means our design is valid and we have a randomized sample of users in our experimental conditions. Now we know that the experiment is working fine. We go into the results section. Very simple. We just look for an average treatment effect where this specification yi is a binary variable that takes the value 1 if the user I clicks on the ad and 0 otherwise. Beta here is our coefficient of interest, which measures the impact of the treatment Ti, where Ti is a binary variable that takes the value 1 if user I is assigned to the GenAI ad treatment group and 0 otherwise. So we club the other 2 control conditions here. If we don't club them, we still see the impact of how people engage is way more in a statistically significant way for a generative AI enabled ads ad compared to the other 2 separate baselines. Now, if you look at the results here, each column shows estimates from a linear probability model in which we regress our outcome ad click on the treatment indicator as we had described in the prior equation. For the ease of exposition, we split the comparison with the 2 baseline variables. And if you see here in column 1, the baseline control is the industry status quo, which is personalized image ads. That is what we call as p-image. And in column 2, it is generic non-personalized video ad, which is n-video. And we find that the experimental group, which received generative AI-based personalized video ads, has a significantly higher ad click rate. And in columns 3 and 4, these are the same specification. We also control for gender, where female equal to 1, and the total spend, that is historical pre-treatment total purchases made by the consumer from the online retailer. Right? Again, our results are robust to these controls, and we find that the ad clicks in the treatment group are 6 to 9 percentage points higher than those of the two baselines. And that's what these are our main results. The average treatment effect we see comparing the treatment group, which is generative AI enabled advertising, to our control conditions. Right? How does our sub-conditions perform? So if you see here, we see consistent positive treatment effect for all the three personalization sub-conditions. Treatment effects are stronger for users in the upsell and revisit sub-conditions, where upsell was they have already purchased, and then revisit is they haven't made any purchase in the prior few months, which is 4 months. Likely because these customers are more involved with the brand anyway. So this generative AI probably provides them with a nudge compared to a switch condition where the users have logged in on the website, but they never purchased anything. Now, heterogeneity, how do different consumer segments respond to our treatment? So we do it in two ways. First is we look at RFM, which is recency, frequency, and the monetary value of the purchases. RFM is a segmentation scheme that classifies users based on their spending habits with the firm. They provide interpretable user segments for firms to test different marketing strategies for different subgroups of users. We calculate the RFM measures using historical pre-treatment data from the past 1 year. So from the date of the running the experiment, we look at the past data of these users from 1 year, and we discretize these variables by splitting them into 3 bins: low, medium, and high. And that makes us, rather than a continuous measure, it makes the results more interpretable. And we then estimate heterogeneous treatment effects across the 3 bins. And to make the exposition easier, we combine both the baseline groups, which is personalized image and non-personalized video, add together to create a single control group. The treatment group remains the same, which is AI video. And also, we look at how people who have engaged with the past ad campaigns react to this generative AI-based personalization. There is work by Omid where he has shown how you interact with past ads, both in terms of intensity of ads and also in terms of the frequency and diversity of ads. How many different ads you have seen, how it impacts to how you react to the focal stimuli, which is happening at time t. How you have interacted with different kinds of ads, different frequency of ads at time t-1, t-2, and how that impacts how you react to the ads at time t. So keeping those 2 different ways of cutting our data, we look at if these 2 segments differ in terms of how they react to generative AI-based advertising. Now, if you see here, these results show for the recency and frequency measures. So the results for the measure of monetary expenditure are similar to the results for purchase frequency. Now, if you look here, we find that the effect of our treatment on ad clicks is strong and positive across all measures and bins. Interestingly, we find that Gen AI-based personalized video ads engage users with medium level of RFM measures at a higher rate. Right? So folks who are in the lower bin versus on the higher bin, if you compare them to folks who are in the medium bin, actually they perform better. That is, users who have had moderate purchases and sales with retailers in the past, neither too high nor too low, have substantially higher ad engagement rates. Similarly, users who have not purchased from the online retailer in the past 4 months, medium, recent in the left panel, we have a significantly higher engagement rates. Typically, we find that engagement rates are highest for the most loyal customers. Hence, the incremental impact of marketing interventions tends to be subdued. However, if Gen AI can help create engaging personalized videos, then it would provide a valuable resource for retailers to engage these consumers. Now, these are not very surprising results in terms of this is what Eva's work has proven, that sometimes you have users who don't want to interact with the firm. So they are going to fall in the slow panel, right? whatever you do, they will interact, but they are just not interested with the firm. So you can ignore them. Then there are people who are anyway going to interact with you as a firm because they are loyal. But then you need to target people who are in between, who are in that moderate or the middle scheme, and you have to design targeting strategies and creative ads so that they can be pushed and they become and push them in the higher up in the funnel so that they become your users. And essentially that is what we see in our data across recency and frequency measures. Now, if we go to the how users are responding to historical ad engagement. So folks who have zero engagement, low engagement versus high engagement, how they respond to the generative AI based targeted personalized video ad. We see that the treatment effect is positive and strong for all segments, including groups with historically low or zero or low engagement, right? And finally, what else we do? If you see here, we started with this idea of testing the impact of generative AI, and then we went to the heterogeneous treatment effects. Okay, I see a question here. What is your opinion on the effectiveness of Gen AI when it is applied to hedonic products, luxury brands versus utilitarian products? Yeah, so that's a good question. And I think when I was responding to the earlier question, we don't have a clean causal study to make a claim about this is how Gen AI ads are going to perform in terms of engagement for hedonic versus utilitarian products. But we did study observational data, which is not clean and causal, for 7 different kinds of brands. Some of them you can call them as hedonic, some of them you can call as utilitarian. We see a very consistent pattern, right? That overall, generative AI performs better in terms of the engagement for both utilitarian and hedonic, right? That's what we see. But we also have to see that it has to be the right brand ambassador, right message that has to go through, and then only these ads work. So that one has to keep in mind. I hope that answers your question here. So just to summarize what we do a multi-stakeholder research effort to empirically investigate how Gen AI can help in mobile targeting. We run a mobile ad targeting field experiment to compare the efficacy of Gen AI-based personalized video ads with personalized image ads, generic non-personalized video ads. And we see that Gen AI-based personalized video ads have CTR, which is 1.5 to 2 times that of traditional ad formats. And the results are robust across user demographics and model specifications. And HT analysis, which is heterogeneous treatment effect, shows that treatment effects are higher among potentially high value and previously non-engaged users. Just to give you a quick idea here, we do multiple robustness checks, including the Fisherian randomization, where we binarize the treatment variables such that it takes the value 1 if the user was in our main treatment group, AI video, and 0 otherwise. And we then test whether the treatment had any impact by randomly permuting the treatment indicator and re-estimating the treatment effect for each permutation. We see this histogram of treatment effects estimated across the permutations along with the observed treatment effect estimated using the realized treatment assignment. We find that the observed estimate is significantly far from the distribution of permuted estimates. That's one form of robustness we do, that our results are robust. Apart from that, we also explore heterogeneity in the time users take to click on the ad after receiving the message on WhatsApp, conditional on the user clicking. And again, we see that our results are pretty robust across different specifications, different assumptions. So that way we are fully sure that our results are, they stand and they are pretty consistent. Howsoever whether you change the functional assumptions or you change the way you measure the ad engagement rates. I see some questions here. One is there might be a surprise factor which may be causing higher engagement rate, and personalized Gen AI aids are not surprised. Do you think that is a yeah? So let me actually go a little deeper into this. Surprise factor we cannot completely rule out, but if you look here, especially this figure here, this plots the density in time to click. So conditional on clicking for the three experimental conditions. So although the main treatment group shows a slightly fatter tail, which is this green one, it fizzles out at the 2 hour mark, right? So it is important to note that these results cannot be interpreted causally since they condition on a post-treatment variable, because these are sub-conditions. So some people, when they revisit, so they have a different message. Nevertheless, we do feel that because if there was significant difference in terms of how quicker you open the WhatsApp ad message, that would have shown that, oh, you are more surprised, right? At least before clicking, you can measure it. We don't see much of a difference there. So we have some partial data to rule out the novelty effects, but definitely we haven't measured it in terms of a scale or something, right? Because the firm also, we had thoughts about asking people questions, but firm didn't permit us to bother their consumers. But good question, thanks. Do you believe that the use of Gen AI technology results in a deficiency of human touch, as human designers consider subjective elements such as, yeah, we do agree on that. So there are 2 pointers here. The first one is scalability. Now imagine a human has to design, so Dia Mirza in this case, suppose she had to come up with 21,000 videos which are personalized every time someone sends an email, purchases a product or interacts with the firm. How expensive that will be, right? Just imagine the cost. So that's always that factor of scalability versus personalization. And for luxury brands, I don't think even they are successful in having a luxury human talking to each of their customers, especially the celebrity. So you have to have a balance there, and AI provides you with scalability. The second thing that I want to bring here is, as the text to video technology is becoming smarter and smarter, you will see that the way they convey the emotions and the way they talk to the consumer is going to become more and more advanced and more personalized. Of course, but it cannot take away the human touch. That I agree. How can Times Gen AI is better than Gen AI is better than P video? Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So initially that 6 to 7 percentage points, and that if you scale it across say millions of users, that's a big number out there. And also the cost that goes is just very less compared to any other form of marketing communications. We have, yeah, what are your thoughts if you also adapt mixed augmented reality, AR? I don't know honestly, because AR also involves different set of consumers. Right now, you have to also invest something in the technology, so that there is also an angle of adoption of AR. So maybe those consumers are very different from these consumers. So honestly, I don't have any priors on those set of users. But good question. Any other question? I think I'm right on time. I had my own 45 minutes. So
There is one question in the Q&A section.
yes, let me check. Can you please explain average treatment again? Yeah. So average treatment effect is nothing. It's just when you are sure about, suppose these are the two groups. I don't have two pens, but let's assume this is group 1, this is group 2, and you are sure that the randomization are proper and the groups are representative of the set of people who are in this particular group. So group 1, group 2, then you average the whatever you are trying to measure, and the mean difference in the means between these two groups is what we are referring to as average treatment effect, ATE. I mean, you can read a little bit more about this if you want to read intent to treat, average treatment effect, ATT. Here we are measuring ATE. Which version is better? Text to, sorry, let me see the question. Text to video, or text to text, or text to image. Yeah, so that's what we show. Text to video is better in terms of ad engagement.
I don't see any other open questions.
Yeah.
So if there are no further questions, let me conclude by thanking Professor Anuj for a brilliant session. I myself, I had very little idea about this particular area. I got to learn a lot. And thank you everyone for joining. On behalf of British Center for Data Science and AI, we thank all of you and we'll hope that you'll be joining us for our upcoming webinars also. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nirban, for hosting me, and also thank you everyone for joining me on midday on a Monday. So that's very kind of you.